Welcome back, everybody. As you probably guessed by the title, this is the rifle that we're going over today. This is the Daniel Defense Delta 5 Pro. So for folks that don't know, folks that are new here, folks that don't watch all my videos, shame on you. They've had their Delta 5 out for a while now, which is this rifle right here. And as you can see, they added a chassis system to it, and there's some other changes beyond that as well. But some of the things are retained from the standard Delta 5, and then some aren't. Some are new for the Delta 5 Pro. Now, before we get started, just a quick note to our YouTube manual reviewer out there, whoever you are. All the shooting that was done in this video was done at a closed range, so it is in compliance with YouTube's policies. Now, with the rifle itself, like I said, the chassis system, kind of the big difference, as well as different barrel profiles as well that are available as of right now only on the Delta 5 Pro. And one thing that they did, which is really important, is price point wise. So the price on this for the base model here in black, regardless of caliber, is going to be right at $2,499, which keeps it in production class for PRS and many other types of shooting competitions. So their goal essentially was to give you all of the features that you'd get with like a high-end custom gun, but at that production series cost point. So it's a bolt gun, that's for sure. So with that, everyone's always going to want to know how it shoots. So let's head out to the range, shoot some groups, and then come back here and sort of walk through the rifle. Now we're going to see what kind of groups we can get out of this rifle. Now, it does have a 0.5 MOA accuracy guarantee. We have 4 different loads here today. I'm going to tell you right up front, 0.5 MOA in terms of accuracy, a lot of that has to do with the shooter. I'm not entirely sure I'm that good of a shooter, but we'll see. I can shoot MOA groups all day long, so I'm a decent shooter. But 0.5 MOA, that's a tight group. So on the gun right now, we have the Daniel Defense Wave Can out front. And then we have the primary arms. This is their GLX 4-16 with the 6.5 Creedmoor reticle in there. It makes shooting, you know, various targets at various distances almost comically easy in 6.5. So it's a fantastic reticle. Anyway, the trigger has not been adjusted from the factory. You can adjust it later. And the first load up here that we have is some 140 grain Hornady. I will roll in the actual load here on your screen because I don't remember which off the top of my head. It's some bulk pack stuff that I bought a couple years ago. But we have that. And then again, a few different loads that we'll get to. So let's see what it can do and what I can do. Well, they could pick the round up. Maybe I didn't have the mag seated. It's entirely possible. Well, maybe I spoke too soon. That might be a 0.5 MOA group. All right, so next up here, we'll go for some 140 grain open tip match American Eagle. This stuff, despite the cost relative to other 6.5 Creedmoor, has shot really well in the past for me, so we shall see. That's weird. It's the exact same round. It's got to be a magazine issue. We'll switch mags here after this because that's the third round of the mag. It didn't get picked up both times. It's not happened before what you guys are watching. That tends to be how it works. Well, I think that might be another half MOA group. We're starting to get some mirage coming off that can. So that's my excuse. All right, next up, guys, we have some Remington Core-Lock. This is a very common hunting round. Recently, I was on a hog hunt. As of when I'm recording this, it was last week, but who knows when I'll put the video up. And the guide, who had been working there for 20 plus years, made an interesting statement to me. And he said, you know, obviously watching lots and lots of bullets impact lots and lots of animals. Remington Core-Lokt is the only one he uses. Take that for what it's worth. What I'll tell you is pretty much every load we got out here today would do some serious damage on most animals here in North America. The wind is picking up. Let that settle down. I'll take that for a hunting round. Note that it probably was this magazine because all the rounds picked up that time. All right, last load up here, guys, is some Federal Gold Medal Burger, 130 grain, hybrid open tip match, so it's a lighter weight. We'll see how the barrel likes that one. I've had really good luck with this in the past, but at this point, we're having pretty good luck all the way around. Again, that group down there with that Core-Lokt is reasonably surprising because, again, hunting loads typically don't shoot all that well compared to match loads, but I'll take that. Still got some mirage going, but we'll push through. Let's go check those groups out. You guys had the advantage of the target cam, so you've already seen the groups, but we'll measure them out. For folks who are new, you measure groups center to center. It's a comment I get a lot in the comment section. But that hornady right there, center to center, right on 0.5 MOA. And then I believe we came up here, if I remember correct, with the American Eagle. And center to center on that one, we're at 5/8 of an inch, right between 5/8 and 3/4. So right in there. Then the Remington Core-Lokt again, center to center. Looks like we're right at an inch on the dot on that one. And then with that burger group there, center to center. Again, 5/8, 3/4 of an inch right there. So definitely it lives up to its accuracy claim. Honestly, I don't know that I have a rifle that's more accurate than that. I mean, I have guns that are capable rather of shooting one of these groups for sure. I have other guns like that, but to shoot all of those different loads so consistently well, I mean, that's impressive for sure. As you guys just saw, it shoots pretty darn well, and it does seem to live up to its accuracy guarantee, and that's with me behind it, and that's with factory ammunition. If you worked up loads for this, I bet you could shrink those groups even more. Additionally, I should mention that this is the H. Palma barrel variant in 6.5 Creedmoor. They also make what's called a varmint barrel, which is, I think, 0.91 inches at the muzzle. So that is a thick boy there, and you're probably going to get a little bit more accuracy out of that. But that said, I'm not sure how much more accuracy you can really get from a practical perspective. So on that right now, of course, we have the Daniel Defense Wave Suppressor, which is what I've used the majority of the time. I just typically hate muzzle brakes. However, the one that comes with it from the factory is the Area 419 muzzle brake. It's super effective in terms of shooting flat, but the concussion out to the sides, everything's a trade-off. Of course, the concussion and the blast out to the sides is just crazy. I don't know why Daniel Defense went with that one when they have the capability to make pretty much everything else on this gun in-house. They didn't make a muzzle brake for it. They went with that one. That said, it's super, super effective. And underneath that muzzle brake, you have your standard 5/8 thread pitch. So any of your aftermarket suppressors, muzzle devices, whatever the case may be, flash hiders will fit on there just fine. Again, with the barrel, the actual length is going to vary by the caliber. Of these, as of right now, are available in 308, 6.5 Creedmoor, and 6mm as well. And again, they do offer that varmint profile if you guys want something a little bit heavier. Personal preference, I suppose, at that point. But the barrel itself is a proprietary steel. It is not a chromoly variant like many of the other offerings out there on the market. So it's proprietary stainless to Daniel Defense. The actual barrel, the contour, and the chamber are cold hammer forged at the exact same time. So many companies will do the bore and the chamber separately, but doing it all together like Daniel Defense does keeps everything super concentric and obviously leads to better accuracy, as you guys saw out there. Again, has that nice sort of wavy finish on there that you get with cold hammer forged barrels. It does have a Cerakote finish there on top to protect it. That said, it's a stainless type of steel, so either way it would be just fine. Continuing on back here, you guys will see the chassis system. The rail portion here has a lot going on with it. So it has M-LOK all the way around, including on the bottom, as well as having a Arca Swiss attachment point here on the bottom. Now this Accutac bipod does have the Arca Swiss attachment on there. So basically what that does for folks who aren't familiar with the Arca Swiss is that it's got a little bit of a scallop to it. So if I just loosen this, I'm not going to do it because I don't want my gun to fall. But if I loosen this, if I was out in the field and I just want to move it back, say get in a different shooting position where I need something back here, or I'm shooting at a high angle and I need something back here, something like that, all you do is just loosen it, slide it right back on that rail system, then tighten it down and you're good to go. But for most folks, I'd imagine you're probably going to just run something on the M-LOK slot, whether it be a 1913 rail or just an M-LOK direct bipod attachment. But if you want the Arca Swiss benefits, it's there, and really there aren't a whole lot of factory rifles out there that are going to have that from the factory at this price point. In fact, I don't know of any right now, but that may change over time. We do have quick detach sling swivel points at the front and the back, and then it also comes with one steel M-LOK compatible QD point. Now the reason for that, for folks that don't know, is that if you do a lot of quick detaching of your sling on anything aluminum, eventually that will wear out because the QD that you're actually putting in there is going to be steel, and steel on aluminum will eventually wear. So they do give you that steel piece there that fits any of the M-LOK slots, so you can set it up however you want. We have this sort of scalloped out cut here onto the rail, and what that's for is to give you the ability to mount your scope as low as possible. Especially this one isn't really applicable in this case with this scope, but some scopes, particularly long range ones, have a really large bell out here at the end. So with that, it will give you the ability to get it low down in there and you don't have the interference from a rail. Now the M-LOK slots on top are handy because there's plenty of room here if you want to attach a thermal or night vision device or anything like that and still be able to use it through your scope. So it is handy in that regard. Continuing rearward on the rifle, right here where the rail section of the chassis meets up with the rest of the chassis system has these bolts on there, and they're on both sides and they are offset. So the reason they're offset is that when you screw them down, it actually pulls these two pieces together and clamps them together as you screw it in because of that offset. So it is a very cool, very smart design in that regard. Underneath there, you can't see it, but it still has the quick detach barrel system or quick change barrel system. So that was found on the original Delta 5. So you can change these barrels out in the field. It's very simple. It takes, if probably your first time, it'll probably take you 10 minutes. Your second time, it'll probably take you 5. So you can switch calibers really, really easily. And Daniel Defense does sell their barrels now separately. So you guys can pick those up. Back when I did my Delta 5 video, they weren't for sale yet. They are for sale now. So there is that. Continuing back, we have this hard stop right here, and that kind of serves two purposes. Number one, if you're on a barricade and you really want to dig into it, you can do so, and there's no risk of that happening. Our mag going back and forth, which could possibly, in theory, cause a misfeed or a failure to feed like we saw there at the range. But again, that was, in my opinion, just the magazine, because it's the only time it happened, and it only happened with that magazine, and it happened the same time twice in a row. I'm chalking it up to the magazine. So there is that. Our mag wall here is flared, and it does ship with a 10-round Magpul AI pattern mag, or AICS pattern mag. It does work with AI mags, any of the ones that are out there. I have tried it with an actual Accuracy International mag several times. And one thing I noticed was, I don't know if it's just my gun or what, but it's smoother. The action's smoother with the Magpul. It might have something to do with the polymer, not sure, but it definitely is. There's no interference at all with this, whereas with the AI, I could feel it, if that makes sense. The action otherwise is super smooth, which is why I wasn't sure out there when testing accuracy if we were actually picking up a round or not, because it's really, really smooth, regardless of whether a round goes in or not. But the mag release there is ambidextrous. It's on both sides of the trigger. We do have a 60-degree bolt throw there, as you guys can see, so it's nice and fast. Positive lockup. They have this in the rear, which is interesting. So they purposely designed the bolt to have this amount of play in it in the rear, whereas on a lot of really high-end guns, which you'll often see is that there'll be a very little amount of play in here. But what they did is they did that so that way if there's dirt, grime, all of those sorts of things in your action, you can still run the action and it won't seize up on you. And the way they countered that in terms of keeping the accuracy where it should be is having really, really high tight tolerances up on their bolt head itself. Now to remove it, it does have a bolt release here on the left side of the gun. It's very, very tight, as was my Delta 5. But you guys can see there it has that 3-lug design. And like I said, the actual tolerance specs for that are very, very tight, just to make sure rather that you have that consistent accuracy, which you guys saw. Our bolt handle here is removable. If you want to swap it out to something knurled or something like that, you certainly can do so. That said, it's perfectly fine. In my opinion, the trigger on the gun is adjustable. Like I mentioned, I did not adjust it at all, but it's a Timney trigger, and you can adjust it down to 1.5 pounds. So from the factory, it comes out right around 3.5 to 4 pounds, but you can really get that thing down if you want to. And here, you guys have probably noticed it with me shooting so far. They have this thing here. They call it the gas pedal, but it's basically just a rest for folks who like to keep their thumb on the same side as their trigger finger. That said, you can move it forward and back, and you can also switch it out to the left side of the gun, say if you're a left-handed shooter, or if you just prefer to have your thumb over there in a consistent place to put it, you can do that as well. Pistol grip here is Daniel Defense's standard overmold grip, but it is compatible with any of your AR-15 grips out there that don't have a tang. So some of the grips do. You guys will probably know that if it has a tang, it might not work. If it doesn't, it will fit on there just fine. Here on the buttstock, we have a ton of adjustment going on here. So you can loosen this up, and then you can rise or lower your cheek height. And then additionally, you can actually, if you take these 2 bolts here and you loosen those, you can actually adjust it cant-wise as well, left or right, so that way it fits perfectly into your cheek. So for example, a lot of right-handed shooters would want to cant it a little bit like that just for comfort. Left-handed shooters, the opposite of that. And then once you get it set, you just lock it down and you're good to go. It's not going anywhere, and there is a spring in there, which is nice. So even if you completely loosen it, it's not going to just fall down by itself until you kind of manually adjust it. That said, with this particular scope, and I have Seekins low rings on there, we really didn't need much, just a touch to get it to where it was comfortable for me. We do have quick detach sling swivel points built in here at the rear as well as a traditional sling swivel point. We have these hard stops both here and here for guys who are going to use bags and kind of want to really dig them into there. Our length of pull system here is adjustable as well. So we have this wheel here that will pull it in or set it out, and then you can tighten these down when you get it where you want it to be. Additionally, the actual cheek piece itself is adjustable, so that way it can go down or it can go up if you're in a weird shooting position or something like that. And then over here on the left side of the gun, it has a watermark on there, so that way you can remember where it was, remember where you prefer it, and then just tighten it right back down. Say if you swap it out with a different shooter and they like it somewhere else, you can just put it right back to where it's comfortable for you. So pretty slick little system there. This also will cant, so you can loosen it and cant it left or right. So very cool in terms of adjustability, and I can't imagine there's going to be many folks that this won't adjust to in terms of being very, very comfortable for them. As y'all can probably see behind me, we have some ominous clouds rolling in, so we will wrap the video up here with this segment. One thing in terms of feature set that I didn't touch on that I should is going to be the base. So it does ship with a 20 MOA base, and for those that don't know what that means, it just means that it's canted. So that way you get 20 more MOA of adjustment in your elevation. If you want to dial in a firing solution for something out really far away, it gives you that capability. So I definitely think that's kind of a no-brainer. That said, if I'm going to list a con for this rifle, and I don't know if it's really a con, I can't say. You'll see why here in a second. But whenever I get a bolt action gun in, I always pull the base off and degrease and then thread lock the screws itself and then reinstall them. So sometimes on rifles they come with thread locker, sometimes they don't. It just depends. That's why I always do that, because if not, your scope will start moving around on you. You can count on it. It's just a matter of time. But on this one, it didn't have thread locker on it. Now, I don't know if they do that because they just assume that everyone does exactly what I do, which is entirely possible. But I think it's a good thing because a lot of people out there just don't know to do that. So if I could change it, I would add that from the factory. But other than that, guys, I really don't have anything to ding this rifle on. I should also add, full disclosure, Daniel Defense did send this rifle out for this review. I did request it because I shot one at the Big Daddy Unlimited shoot, which I think was in November of last year. and it was shooting lasers, which is exactly what you guys saw with this gun as well. Out there, it was windy and raining, and I was nailing small targets at 500 yards with no problem. So I was like, yeah, I want to get one of these in for review. And as you guys saw from the accuracy, it wasn't just that gun that was out there that day. That's just how they shoot. So very good in that regard. Weight, that's always going to be a concern. It's not a lightweight gun, but it just depends on the purpose that you're using it for. Some folks will have zero issues with the weight. And if you look around at like competitive shooting or even hunting, there's guys out there using rifles that are much heavier than this one. So I think that's a preference thing at that point. Now, whether it's worth, $600 to $700 more than this guy, it's really up to you, in my opinion. Both of them are fantastic guns. I still shoot this gun all the time. The only reason it doesn't have an optic on it is because I took it and swapped it 1-for-1 here for this one, because I really do like that 6.5 Creedmoor ACSS reticle. It's fantastic. But yeah, so that is pretty much it. If you guys like this type of video, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you are subscribed, you're not seeing like 3 videos a week on average here on the channel, I highly suggest you sign up for my email lists. I have 2 of them. One of them here on your screen is going to be just all of the videos since the last email went out, because right now on YouTube, even if you're subscribed, sometimes YouTube doesn't show you my videos, and that email will go VFR direct straight to you. So that way there's no social media giants censoring what you see in terms of my content. And then I also have another email list that will send updates when stuff is either in stock or on sale. So as of March 2021, when I'm filming this video, this rifle is coming in stock pretty often. That said, I post it on all my social media that you guys see here, which I encourage you to follow me on. And it sells out super, super quick. So if you want to make sure you get one, definitely follow me on social media or on that email list. But yeah, I mean, they're coming in stock. We already mentioned the price point for PRS shooters, but they're selling out super, super fast as well. That's a good sign. It means a lot of people are getting them, and a lot of people seem to like them from everything I can tell. So that's pretty much it. I think we covered everything. If you have a question, Facebook is still the best place to reach me. That said, I don't see all the comments over there anymore like I used to, and I don't know why. That changed a couple months ago, but I do my best to get back to everybody over there. You can also comment down below here in the video, and I will reply to some of those. Again, I don't see them all, but the ones I do, I'll get back to you there as well. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing if you're subscribed, and I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.